Okay. All right. So, hello everybody. It's me, Francisco here, and this is Sports Goofs number 192. Joined by my good buddy Charles here. It's just the two of us. Once again, we're out here.
Or is it?
Oh, well, hello. So, hey, Andrew's back after a long hiatus, and I switched the game that was in the background because I had the Panthers and the Flyers on, and then I realized the Heat are facing the Magic today, so why not have that in the background now that Andrew's come back for this episode? Team. Yeah. So, yeah, the Orlando Magic, who are now, I guess, the best basketball team in Florida right now. So,
by one game.
Yes, by one game, but
they're the least frustrating team in Florida.
True, and they got an all-star finally. So Paolo Banchero made the all-star team for them, and things are looking up in Orlando for like the first time in a long time. Actually,
I do not know who their coach is.
No, but he should be coach of the year.
Right.
I don't know who's coaching them. I saw his name once, and I forgot it already.
Made the Magic relevant without needing a big man. Yeah. And you know what kind of big man we're talking about? The big man.
The barometer of whether the Magic are relevant or not is whether
Jamal Mosley.
Is whether Andrew actually cares about them this season. So that's the barometer right there. If they can get him to care, then they've done something right.
I will say this. So I get score notifications on my phone from ESPN. Mm-hmm. And, I've always had, the Lightning, the Rays, the what have you. I have all those teams. I get their scores. And I have the Magic as well. But I usually just whatever, swipe.
They've lost again.
That, or I just I don't even pay attention. I just whatever. I actually look forward to the results now. I actually look to the results to see what is going on.
Good. I mean, yeah, we can actually talk about basketball. Holy crap, Charles! This might be a thing.
I have no beef with Andrew wanting to talk about the Magic. It's just
I honestly right now. We have nothing planned for this episode.
And so, the thing is, I love how Andrew comes back with a return of nothing.
Speaking of return,
he goes to us off the line and says, right? He goes to us and says, what else is new? Kind to it. I'm like, we've been good though, because I'll tell you this, man. The two-man group is a two-man group. We've all had stages in the show where we've had to do a two-man group. But I can't fuck around, one, because he hasn't been on the show, so we get to introduce it this way.
True. He doesn't know about this concept either. We're counting the curse words.
No. Yeah, I don't know how it just started, because we always called you the morality of the show, so without you there, it's...
I got the inspiration from South Park when they were saying, shit.
The shit episode 3.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's one for me.
But we don't try to overdo it, but we were just doing the tally. Point being is that I can't screw around on the gaming so much if it's a two-man group. We had to go analytical. So this is a kind of a good old nostalgia trip where I could just literally try to work with Nikita Khrushchev puck handling as Andrew and Francisco.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, you get up.
Khrushchev was one of the leaders of the Soviet Union. They're talking about Nikita Kucherov, who is right now the best player in the league.
Well, Khrushchev could be considered as one of the best Russian presidents, right? So
I'm particularly to Nate McKinnon, right? or Connor McDavid, but Kucherov.
Well, let me say this: a brief detour in hockey. Kucherov.
We missed the third man. There we go. We have the Andrew verses coming in.
Kucherov is the points leader as of the All-Star break. I haven't been following who has started playing again after the break.
It's tonight, so the Panthers are already winning 1-0. But there's a few games on tonight. Actually, it's a pretty big slate tonight for the NHL. If you guys want to look at the score call above us,
I'm a hockey fan now.
Indeed.
Or
below us.
So he's the points leader, Kucherov. and he did the funniest thing ever, which was A, make total fun of the NHL,
yeah, he did.
and B, piss off Toronto.
Is he the one that did the gay right advocacy?
No.
No. This is concerning the, and I'm gonna just kind of
wasn't like I might get confused with another player where the NHL was hating on any kind of pride thing, and not just pride because of Stalin.
Well, they still do. Yeah.
But I'm going to bring up Nikita Kucherov's numbers up here because we're here now. We'll talk about them. And then I want to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive on the Orlando Magic because I have no idea what's going on with that team. And I probably should. But Nikita Kucherov, I've got his hockey reference page up right now on the big screen. Not Khrushchev. But Kucherov, he did not care whatsoever for the All-Star Skills competition. He wasn't even really going through the motions while he was participating. And what was his competition? What was he doing? The puck handling?
They decided this year to do something weird. I'm going to pull up. Well, see, every year in the All-Star game, they have the skills competition. Kind of think of it like the NBA, the slam dunk contest, the three-point contest. NHL does that the day before the All-Star game. It's part of the All-Star weekend. Usually it's each person gets one event, sometimes maybe two. But this year they decided to mix it up a little bit and have, here I'm looking at the Wikipedia article, having been revamped, instead of having individual winners for each skill event, 12 specific players competed in multiple events to determine an overall winner. The winner of the competition, so you do all that. From there, the top 6 advance to the final event, with the winner of the competition winning a trophy and $1 million.
I'll do anything for $1 million. Jesus.
So the players were David Pastrnak, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Jack Hughes was supposed to, but was injured, did not play. Nikita Kucherov, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and Matthew Barzal subbing in for Jack Hughes. So Kucherov did the one-timer event, the passing challenge, the stick handling,
yes, that
accuracy, and that was it. So
Nikita Kucherov, there's just one. He just didn't give a shit. That's 2.
He really did not care whatsoever.
In what capacity, though?
Like, he did not want to be in Toronto that weekend.
He
wanted to be in Tampa in nice warm weather, just taking a break from hockey. Instead, he has to go all the way up there, all the way to Toronto, and participate in this competition he doesn't give a shit about. 3. And
because I don't know if this is how the NBA does it, but the NHL, kind of like MLB, now that I think about it, at least one player from each team goes to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
No matter how shit the team is.
Now the NHL does it. The NHL does it where each team at least gets one rep because they have these, not an all-star game.
Contest.
Yeah, it's an all-star tournament, not an all-star game. It's a 3-on-3 tournament amongst players from. It was the divisions, but this year they decided to change it up again to have different selections of players be captains, along with like these celebrity.
Kind of like what the NBA does with Team Giannis and Team LeBron and some shit.
Yes, the NHL did that briefly. Actually, the NHL came up with that first before the NBA did. So that's the style competition. So yes, each team does get a rep. It helps with people actually paying attention to the All-Star game, because at least one guy is going to be there for your team. But the NHL used to be like the NBA, where not every team got a rep. So there you go.
So Kucherov, the thing about Kucherov, you have to realize, and I mean, I don't know Kucherov personally, but being a Lightning fan, you come to know the tendencies and the behavior of these players. Kucherov is not someone who will entertain giving fan service just for fan service. Mm-hmm. It's not like he doesn't care about fans. He does. He's a fan favorite. He loves the fans. He takes pictures. Nice guy from all indications. I mean, like I said, I don't know him personally, but I haven't heard any bad stuff about him of being an asshole or whatever. True. But he would not be a good captain, who is someone who is going to field questions, be the public face of the franchise.
There was that incident where it was at the NHL Awards. It was the season that they blew the series against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
And Kenan Thompson was the host and made fun of the Lightning for blowing the series against the Blue Jackets. And Kucherov, who was there, who was one of, I guess, a Hart Trophy candidate. I don't know if he won it that
Will
year.
Smith?
And he didn't. That would have been great. It would have been great for the NHL if he went up there and slapped.
Kenan Thompson hasn't done anything wrong. You leave Good Burger out of this.
And Mighty Ducks, too.
Yeah, right? Hold on, how relevant?
Well, that's the whole reason why he was hosting it. And Kucherov was just sitting there, seething. Couldn't say anything, because that was before they could prove themselves in the future. But yeah, sitting there seething, and I guess some NHL fans don't really like Kucherov outside of Tampa because of maybe his abrasiveness, huh?
Is he a Brad Marchand kind of guy?
No, not really.
No.
Not in that sense. Not as far as personality. He's just kind of like abrasive. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of a pitcher like in baseball. Madison Bumgarner, a little bit in some sense.
Wait. We hate Madison Bumgarner?
No. Just the style of attitude. He's just there just for that, and I don't know, man. I'm trying to compare.
He's just there to get paid and do his job.
Yes, in that sense, yes. And
right, but it's not. But to clarify, it's also not. He's not like he doesn't care. Like I said, it's not like he doesn't care about the fans. It's not like
I'm talking about outside of fans. I mean.
Right. In terms of
some fans criticize him for the cap circumvention, but of course that's not entirely in his control either. That's the team thing.
Don't even start with that, Francisco. But I see your point. But anyway, when it comes to hockey, his mission is win cups. That's it.
So he's not there for the festivities of the All-Star game. He's been there plenty of times. He's at a point where he's like, I don't have to be here for this no more.
I feel like you guys told me this is the hockey equivalent of Barry Sanders. Doesn't do the touchdown celebration. He just gives a ball to the ref and that's it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's actually.
Anyways, can we keep talking about so that's Nikita Kucherov, but you should know who he is and his numbers, because this season he's played 49 games, which I think is every game for the Lightning this season. And
if not, actually, we've up 49 games,
and he's got 85 points already,
which is fucking ridiculous.
4. You got it. 5. You're at 5.
He's got 32 goals right now, so he's on pace. Maybe.
I'm sorry. We don't curse anymore. Sorry.
No, we curse.
We do, but we tally it. We tally it now, Just to kind of keep
the
us
curse
in
get
check.
the tally
You know
up.
what I mean? There's no prize at the end of it for whoever does it.
Yeah,
the least
it's just kind of
or the most,
fun.
But yes, yeah, it's kind of fun. Anyways, yeah. So he's got 32 goals. He might, if stays on this pace, get close to 60, or might get to it, depending if
What's the highest score?
if he gets like a couple hat tricks here and there,
Who's the highest scorer?
Well, what's the highest score? Is it 60 around that area?
Well, 60's like hitting. Gosh, man. I mean, that's like a 50 homer season, And
okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't happen a whole lot these days. It used to happen all the time back in the 70s and 80s and 90s because goalies just weren't.
They sucked.
Yeah.
The goalies sucked. Before,
I mean, it wasn't
before the 90s. The goalies pretty much all sucked.
It wasn't fully theirs to blame because they just hadn't invented the butterfly style,
and the
which
wasn't as good or as light or anything like that. So
we can do a. Do you all still do Learn a Goof?
I mean, we're kind of doing it now.
Well, I can do a Learn a Goof. We can do a Learn a Goof about butterfly style another time. But anyway, so 60 is pretty much the best you're going to be able to do in a season at this point. If you somehow hit 70, that would be. I guess you could almost think of it
like in baseball, like home runs. If you hit 70, it's like you hit 60 home runs. You're in the Panthers.
Yeah,
players
pretty much.
That rarefied air right there.
The Aaron Judge 62 or 63.
Yeah, essentially.
So, but Kucherov's game, we're a little bit surprised by this because yes, Kucherov can score, but he's more known as a playmaker and a passer. Okay. So to see him score this many goals so far is pretty impressive, but his passing is off the charts, and he has become, at least on the power play, essentially the right-wing version of Steven Stamkos. Stamkos is infamous for his office, quote-unquote, being the left face-off dot, so to the right of the goalie. Someone will pass the puck to him. He shoots a one-timer, goes in the net, like every time. Same kind of thing with Alex Ovechkin. Kucherov has started doing that from the right face-off circle on the other side of the ice. He is deadly from there, but his passing is just as good as ever, if not improved. He does a lot of. Think of it almost like Steve Nash. You know how Steve Nash would do a lot of fake passes and no looks and just someone has no business making that sort of a pass.
Correct.
That's kind of his game in the passing side. Actually, I don't know, Francisco. Would you say that's a pretty decent comparison in terms of the game he plays, kind of like Steve Nash?
Yeah, I mean, the man's got some nice sauce there. He's got some, that type of stuff. I think. Yeah, I mean, Charles has watched Shoresy. I think he kind of get the concept of it by now. And
I have learned. So Andrew, I am not the boy that you met years ago in hockey. I have gone like 4 times stronger than that. I'm basically Anakin Skywalker. You will not give me the rank of. You won't let me set the council, but I'm Jedi Master up in this ish right here.
So, yeah, he's gotten familiar with some players and everything like that since he started playing NHL.
What I do is I have Francisco tell me people to pick team-wise, and I just unlocked all the 1v1s I need teams.
Yeah,
but
like, hey,
we learn.
You try and get the Edmonton Oilers to fix themselves, and they did. They did. As soon as Charles started playing them, suddenly they got like a 8-game.
Me and Connor McDavid have a relationship here.
Or whatever. So, so that's Nikita Kucherov. He's doing the thing. He's a very, very good hockey player, and just having a got another career year. I mean, he's already won Hart Trophy. Yeah, that was 2018-19. That's it. He was seething while being insulted by Keenan. At the same time, he was gonna get the award for being the MVP of the league. So yeah, that was his big breakout year, 2018-19. And
but going back to Kucherov's kind of demeanor. When he did win the cup, and again, this was just the post-game press conference, so I don't know, 15, 20 minutes maybe after getting off the ice with the cup, dude was plastered, absolutely plastered.
He's Russian.
And he does.
When you say plastered,
he's Russian.
For those, you mean he was vibing?
So
he was under
he's
the influence
Russian.
of greatness?
That's all you need to know.
So I should care more about the Tampa Bay Lightning than I ever knew in my life, is what you guys are telling me. You've been holding out on me for 5 years, Andrew?
Well, I mean, that's nothing compared to Alex Ovechkin's week-long bender after winning the cup.
Well, you know what? Right now, in honor, because I'm going to teams, I'm going to play as the Lightning. I just will randomize an opponent.
Kucherov. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. So he does and this was the 21 cup. So this was the one where it wasn't the bubble. He does the whole thing shirtless. He does the whole press conference shirtless. And he coined, I guess he used like a Russian phrase supposedly, but he was talking about how Andrei Vasilevsky, the goalie, who was also Russian, didn't win the Vezina.
And by the way, Andrew, Francisco, and I love Finnish people now.
Yes.
Because I know there's a few of them in hockey, so if we hear a Finnish guy, you'll just understand. I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, a lot of good Finns. So Kucherov, when someone asks him about Vasilevsky not getting the Vezina for that season, and he won the Conn Smythe for the playoff, he said, "Number one, bullshit. Number one, bullshit." He repeated that over and over again. Number one, bullshit.
Is he counting it if it's quoting from somebody else?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's supposed. if I remember correctly, it's a Russian saying, but still,
we'll let you pass on this one. We won't count it because it's other people's words. It's like,
but then also to go,
this is not my words.
But I will also add this during the Stanley Cup parade, talking about, just to give you more incentive to like the Lightning, Vasilevsky wore the Conn Smythe trophy on his head.
I would party with this. I gotta be in Tampa in April for a trip. I'm just going to that man like, where is this Nikita? Because when I get this man to town, then you have the ladies and gals and guys call him Nikita. What's up, dog?
Oh, man. All right. Well, I kind of, let's see, we're at 26 minutes. I do want to kind of run through this because we're here now. Just the league leaders, because I guess it's talk about the post All-Star break, and Charles can kind of get a feel for some players' names here, because they're all pretty much the ones that went to the All-Star game or the All-Star tournament, whatever you want to call it. Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators with the most games played. And
I'm chiming in each one on this.
Andrew, can you explain who Roman Josi is?
I only acknowledge one Roman, and that name is Roman Reigns.
Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about Roman Josi.
Thank you, because he ain't Roman Reigns.
All right, it's a Swiss defenseman for the Predators. He's the team captain, and he ain't
finished.
Anyways, most goals, Austin Matthews right now. He's got 40.
I know Austin Matthews.
The Mexican bastard. Nate McKinnon, who leads the league in assists. He leads the league in points. So I think he's tied with Kucherov there, right? And goals.
The two of them have been kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, for pretty much all these statistical categories. And also goals created, which is another stat there. So he's also making stuff happen. Quinn Hughes out of Vancouver, plus minus. Also breakout year, especially because the Canucks are actually good this year.
Do you guys get disappointed when you hear standard names like Quinn Hughes and you're like, oh, that's not hard to pronounce at all?
Yeah. I mean, in hockey,
I say this as I'm looking at some. Yeah, exactly.
I guess for you, it's not as exotic. You know what I mean?
Like I'm looking at this guy called Braden Point on your team manager. I'm like, what? I don't get tongue tied on this.
Yeah. Let's see.
You haven't seen some of the crazy names like
I've seen some, but you don't know my power just yet.
Like here, I'm gonna put something in chat. The name of two players. I'm gonna see how you think it's pronounced.
I said Charles the one of all the Finnish players' names and how to pronounce them.
All right. So as I'm looking to see if Charles needs Duolingo, Francisco, continue.
All right. So I'm gonna keep going here. So we've got, gosh darn it, man, I got tongue tied there. But Liam O'Brien, forward out of Arizona. He's got the most penalty minutes, but he's a feisty boy, a fighter. He's an enforcer. So that's why you got a bunch of penalty minutes out there in Arizona. Austin Matthews with the most even strength goals, so that means not on the power play. So he's got the most there. Most power play goals is Sam Reinhart in Florida.
I know Sam Reinhart. Yeah,
he's got 20 goals there on just the power play alone. Shorthanded goals, so shorties are Simon Holmstrom of the New York Islanders. He's got 5 of them. So Charles, you know what shorty is, right?
No. I mean, listen, as a white Hispanic male, shorty's a different kind of thing for me.
A shorty is a
certain man in his chat said the shorty mom at the gym. Just saying, it wasn't me, guys.
I know.
Charles, check the chat. Check the chat real quick.
Guys, I hold on thought. I pretty Ricky. So when I hear shorty, I think of that band, bud. All right, let's do the side names. What the fuck? 6. Arbor, Hekash, and Brady Skihay. I know.
So the first one is Arbor Jack Guy.
Yeah, well, that's a jack off name right there.
And the second one is Brady Shea.
Get the fuck out of here. Hey. I mean, I get Shea actually for whatever reason. The other one, no.
All right.
But yeah, respect. Y'all, I mean, I had a Jersey attorney the other day call me Trujillo. I'm like, I have one eye, bro. And it's not before the O right there. So I get it. I scored with Luke Glendening. So thank you. But man's missing it too. Yeah, so I get it. Whatever. Everybody's going to mispronounce our names.
All right. Dave Pasternak out of Boston. He's got 248 shots. Got the most shots. Shooting percentage, Sam Reinhart. Everything's pretty much going in for him at this point. 27.6% of the shots are going in. Austin Matthews got 4 hat tricks. He's also got the most goals per game. Assists per game, Connor McJesus. Nikita Kucherov's got the most points per game. He's at 1.73, so he's nearly scoring 2 points a game. And also creating the most goals per game as well. And a bunch of other numbers. Let me see the goalie stuff here. The goals against average right now, Aiden Hill out of Vegas at 1.94. He's also got the best save percentage at .936, so he's saving 93.6% of the shots he's facing, Charles. Ilya Sorokin out New York, Belmont.
That's a cool-ass name.
Stakes. Yeah. Got the most saves for the season so far as well. He's also faced the most shots because of that, so he's just getting peppered.
So what, there's just a bad defensive team right there?
Yeah, I mean the Islanders fired their coach and hired a crazy man named Patrick Waugh. So
there was a lot of firing. So I had a, and what I need people to understand for the 5 people who listen, there's an oversaturation of like newsfeed when it comes to any kind of sport. And as me and my buddy Tony were talking about, like the need of me going back into boxing, understand boxing, I try to keep up on these coaches' firings to see like what the actual importance of it was. And hockey had like 3, I think. And I was generally like, oh God,
yeah,
I'm confused.
Hockey is, there's definitely a coaching carousel right now. Patrick Waugh is back. So this is his first NHL.
Wow. You gotta say like Waluigi or Wario.
So Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh.
Although, Charles, how do you spell Waugh? How do you spell Waugh?
I mean, for me, it'll probably be W-A-H.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Just tell me. Let's hear this.
R-O-Y. It's spelled like Roy.
Yeah. So Brandon Waugh.
What?
Yep.
Like, so, if anything, you give me like LaCroix. Look, and you know what? It's not my place.
That's why.
Well, maybe Freedom Fries was the right way to go, but
so
it's not my place.
I had to ask, and apparently, Waugh, he's French Canadian.
Yes.
It's au revoir, right? That's all. The only way I can think of here. This is a good episode.
And supposedly, Waugh is a French type of pronunciation for king or royal. From what I could be totally wrong here.
Yeah, like Viceroy. You know,
right?
Yeah. Did they just like steal the Hispanic form of king?
Maybe it's like Reyes. Maybe it's like the version of Reyes.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tristan Jarry on Pittsburgh's got the most shutouts, and a bunch of other stuff. Connor Hellebuck's up there as well with a bunch of stuff too. So yeah, that's the NHL leaderboards for a bunch of stats and everything like that. I would like to talk about the Orlando Magic now because I have no idea what the f they what is going on over there. What is happening in Orlando?
In Florida, that's not the Miami Hurricanes. All right.
Yeah. Well, they scored like 30 points.
Technically, FAU is. Hold on.
Yeah, FAU is the top.
Let's shut our mouths here,
team.
gentlemen.
There we go. Top basketball team in the state of Florida right now.
Hoot.
All right. So the Orlando Magic. What is going on over there? What is happening? I gotta reset this 1 second.
I'll segue a little bit for you as you're resetting if you want.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we're in like year 3, I think, of Jamar Mosley kicking in, and what happened is you have the Wagner brothers, you have Paolo Banchero, who seemed to be the only good one out of that draft that came out a couple of years ago, and I think you just finally had like the unevenness of the East finally come into fruition. It's a world where like the Cavaliers are number 2 in the East without LeBron James. The Knicks are doing very well. The Heat are literally playing like they played like every year since there has been no LeBron on that team. And I will tell you, as someone who hasn't had eyes on the Magic since Dwight Howard was playing, and I loved Dwight Howard back in 2007, 2008. The man was just an animal. He was one of those great generational players, especially for a dying position. We would agree, right? But it is something to look at because I got Paolo's numbers up here. Averaging, mind you, the kid's, 2 years into the league now? 23 points a game, 5.1 assist. You have the Moritz Wagner, who's shooting pretty well. Markelle Fultz, who never got a fair shake in Philly because Philly is where you went to die, obviously. And Wendell Carter Jr. is leading up, and you have Jalen Suggs, who's another pick. It feels like kind of like the perfect storm. I don't know if they're a threat or not. You know, right now it's 18-9 Miami, but we know one thing about basketball. It's a game of runs. But I think it's kind of like best for business for out of all teams in the East that you have a little bit of parity because you have the Celtics at 1, so not surprising at all. Andrew, you haven't been in, but we were saying that they were going to be probably the best team throughout the regular season. Come talk to me in postseason. Joe Mazzulla, just saying.
Well, weren't they the top seed last year?
No,
were they? No, it was the Bucks. It was the Bucks.
Knocked them out.
We broke everybody's hearts last week or last year. Just understand, we were the girl and the guy that you called ugly, and we came back for summer camp. Respect it. Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is the problem because Andrew had put in the chat of a hypothetical trade that one of his boys at UCF had put in about Donovan Mitchell, and we're never going to get him because now they're good again. Milwaukee Bucks with Doc Rivers getting appointed as coaching the East. That's why I can't take the All-Star game seriously. The Knicks at 4, the 76ers at 5, and you know what, Andrew, this might benefit you guys because Joel Embiid has a torn meniscus. That is the straw that stirs the shake over there. Maxley, I don't know how far they go. The Pacers are the Pacers, the Magic are the Magic, the Heat are the Heat. Once again, at playoff. I hate the playoff. You guys know this. And then the Bulls and Hawks. So this is good parity. And Orlando might be something to keep an eye on when you have other teams that are selling the farm. So all I'm saying is the youth movement plus a little bit of luck equals maybe back-to-back in 3 years' time. Playoff appearance is a good win. Take it away, Francisco.
Yeah, I just want to go through the numbers here. So just looking at the stats, because once again, I did not know who was comprised of this team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of Jalen Suggs. I know Paolo's there, and I remember Markelle Fultz being there as well. So just who is on this team and what has been going on. So right now, so Paolo's basically the one that's leading the charge here of this team. He's got the most points for the team. Then Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, and Moritz Wagner as well are their top scorers right now. And then everybody else kind of falls in line after that with their other units here. Let's see, as far as points per game. So we got Paolo's averaging 23 right now.
Yep.
Franz is averaging 20.8. And then you got Jalen Suggs and actually Jalen Suggs at 12.3, 12.1, 11.4, 11.2 for Anthony Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr. Who's, I guess. Then we've got. Let's see what their assists are. Who's making that? So Paolo's also leading them assists per game, 5.1. Then 4 for Franz Wagner, Markelle Fultz at 3.6, and 3.2 for Cole Anthony and Joe Ingles at 3.1. Steals. That's Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs at 1.4. Blocks, that's Goga. Oh man, this is his name. Goga Bitadze. And Jonathan Isaac for former Seminole, 1.2. And we've got.
Y'all have Chuma Okeke, who was great in Auburn, and then he tore his knee, I believe.
And we've got at free throw percentage, Franz Wagner, 854, 850, 848. Let's see who is 3-point percentage. That's Wendell Carter Jr., 403, 388 for Joe Ingles, Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, and Paolo Banchero, 362. And as overall field goal percentage, that's Goga Bitadze, Moritz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Markelle Fultz at 5'10 as well. So it's nice seeing Fultz get bounced back there. You probably saw a lot of sports psychologists over the few years, you know what I mean?
Well, not just that, but what is the word the yips? That was his issue, right?
Yeah, and then Paolo Banchero leading them with minutes played at 34.9. Franz Wagner, 33.1. Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter Jr., and Markelle Fultz as well. So that's those are the guys leading the charge in Orlando. They're sitting at 27-23, playing the Heat right now. And Jamal Mosley. This is, let me see. Do we have any more stats on him?
I think this is his third year.
So let's see. So assistant coach, his third. This is his third season right now. So gotten them each season. They've improved. 268, 415 win percentage last year, and now sitting at 540. Was an assistant coach with the Mavs for since 2014-15, with the Cavs before that, and then with the Nuggets before that. So I think he probably was under George Karl before, and maybe a little bit of Mike Brown, and
maybe
who was the Mavs coach before Jason Kidd?
It's Rick Carlisle.
There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
Which you would think he would have the Andy Reid equivalent in basketball of a coaching branch and a coaching tree, but not a lot of guys got his stuff hired. It was all Phil Jackson, Brian Shaw, for example.
Pop also has a pretty extensive tree.
Yeah, he does. Kerr and Pop to a degree. To kind of add into something that Andrew should be excited for, the NBA for whatever reason, unless your name is Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and I'm trying to think about Giannis Antetokounmpo, doesn't really posterize and put the face of centers if they're not the modern day shooters. And that was kind of like what the Magic did back in the day with Shaq and then Dwight Howard. But for Paolo, who is a point guard, right? Or one kind of guard, the combo guards are out there. I think it gives
he's a power forward. He's listed as a power forward.
Is a power forward?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but yet you're also leading your team.
Their centers are Wendell Carter Jr., Matadze, and
Moritz Wagner.
Yeah,
he's a power forward. It's just kind of tough when you have a forward who's doing the 5.1 assists over your other point guards. It's LeBron genetic makeup is what I would say, right? But if you're having something that's not like the center position as a face of your franchise, I think it can bring in a lot of eyes on the NBA to that franchise, whether it be casual or just new age people coming into it, or people want to come back to it. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. So yeah, so be happy,
because that's how kind of like it revolves around. They want the big who can kind of multi-shoot, not the old school center which the Magic were known for such a long time. Literally, 2 separate generations. It doesn't happen. A position like that where you had, and some people who are purists are going to hate me, but similar genetic makeup, right, between Shaq and Howard. And we have like a little bit of respect for Dwight Howard in this show, but to have Banchero as a power forward who's kind of multi-talented in different skill sets, what they say, 5-tool player, right? I think it's good, man. So I know you tune in and out. Yeah, I know you've tuned in and out throughout the years, but if your organization is able to really flip this and keep it, and the Magic, for what it's worth, aside from Shaq, do keep guys for a while, I think it's good news. I think it's good business.
If they can develop the core still, keep it going, they can.
You kind of want a little bit more vets in there.
Teams that I follow, keeping players for a long time. What a concept!
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility with these guys right now that they don't have to give Banchero the, let's see, what's he earning, the big contract just yet, but eventually he keeps doing like this. They're gonna come up on that problem once more. As can the Magic keep the guy for the big contract? Because that's always been the thing.
Howard though,
huh?
I think they did with Howard. They gave him money, but the multi-trade contract was too much.
Yeah, and then he had problems with Stan Van, and there was some other stuff there. But here it seems like they've got all the makings of something that can move forward with some actual success, and probably give the one guy the big contract to have him stay in Orlando for the first time ever. So that's the thing here. All right, well, we're at 45 minutes. I talked about the things I wanted to talk about. The Marlins haven't done crap for as far as free agents. They are the only team to not have signed a free agent this offseason. It's
Hi.
Yeah, it is. It is my spiral, Charles. The Marlins are my spiral. It is pretty pathetic what's going on now. People are at each other's throats because the Marlins are not wearing their throwback uniforms this year. And because they've given us nothing this offseason, we're all killing each other over the fact that that's not happening. And I'm leading the charge, actually. I'm stirring the discourse here with regards to it because I'm Marlins historian.
And how are you stirring the charge?
Do the plug.
Damn it. Yeah, you want to know how he's leading the charge and sounding the trumpets? On the Twitter. Follow us on the Twitter, aka X, Charles the True, Debt Free Holidays, FJO, I gotta speak. FJO JR, and then sports_goofs, Marlin historian, the big highlight, Panthers historian. You guys should follow it because hockey season happening. If you go on Marlins historian, you're really just gonna get a lot of gripings.
Yes.
If you go on Panthers historian, you get possibly a good kind of Twitter bandwagon to build off if you are disinterested in hockey, or you need to find the perfect South Florida team for possibly the Stanley Cup Finals.
All right. So that's what's going on with me in the sports world right now. I have no idea. Andrew, what's going?
What's
college
up?
college football. I mean, sheesh, man. Sheesh.
So much has happened.
Yeah, Nick Saban's gone. Right? There's conference realignments and all this other stuff. NIL saw lawsuits and
Jim Harbaugh's gone.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh's done. Cheated and took all the money and ran away, just like Pete Carroll. Right? So
he Brett Favre'd it.
Yeah.
And I would say it's more like Pete Carroll in that he left just before the Sanctions Act dropped.
Yeah, exactly. So he can just stay in the NFL and just be there forever and retire in Los Angeles.
You have DeBoer going to Alabama, which is questionable considering the fact that the offense can move anything against a mid-Michigan team. Just saying. How's
Michigan?
Yeah.
Mid-Chicken? How do you feel about
mid-cheat again?
Mid-cheat again, okay. How do you feel about UCF's first season in the Big 12 is we're in?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's hear those feedbacks.
Well, it's interesting. It is both exactly like I predicted preseason and also supremely disappointing. And I going into the season, my prediction was 6 to 7 wins. And I was dead on. They finished with 6 wins. But so I'm proud of myself for getting that prediction correct. But I still feel disappointed, and here's why. And I never thought I would say, man, I feel disappointed about a 6-win season in our first season in the Big 12, which, mind you, there were 3 other teams that joined the Big 12 in the same season as us: BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston. We were the only one to go to a bowl. Only one.
Which one? Where'd you guys go to?
We went to the Gasparilla Bowl against Georgia Tech.
Nice.
And the problem is we had so many opportunities. If we had played consistent ball all season and won games that we were in a position to win, we probably go 7 or 8 wins just in the regular season. We had, I was there for this one, we had a 29-point lead on Baylor at home in our first conference game at home, and we blew it. We blew it pretty much all in one quarter. Lost by 1 point. It was like, damn. That was brutal. That's, I would say, more than anything, that pretty much killed our season, because it's tough to come back from a 29-point loss at home. Giving up a 29-point lead at home to the team that ended up actually being the worst team in the conference. I think they ended up getting 3 wins the entire season. That was brutal. We also gave up a win against West Virginia. We had the lead. We just blew it, and that was the story of the season. We were good in the first half. We just crumbled in the second half. Between that game, between West Virginia, Baylor, and maybe 1 or 2 other games, there's if we just played consistent ball and won the games that we should have won, we get 8 or 9 wins. But no.
Aren't you hating about Gus's use of your quarterback as well, because he likes that mobile, multi-tool kind of guy?
That's his MO, from what I've learned. He likes, like, Cam Newton, for instance.
This is year 3 under Gus? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, this is year 3 under him.
Okay.
And we're starting to see a lot of the gripes that Auburn fans had about him, which is he wins inexplicable games that they had no business winning, and then they lose games that they had no business losing. We almost saw that multiple times this season. We almost beat Oklahoma. We almost beat Oklahoma. We beat the living daylights out of Oklahoma State, who had, well, prior to that game at least, was a Heisman frontrunner at running back in Ollie Gordon. They held him to, I think, 20 yards. And we scored. The final score was 45-3. It's like, huh? How? But yeah, it's a weird mix to say, oh, I'm disappointed in a 6-win season in our first year in the conference, but
it could have been more. There were a few that would have, especially that Oklahoma game, that would have been.
Oh, that would have been
monumental.
I'm not saying that I'm mad with how the season went. I'm just disappointed.
Well, they got a few leaving the Big 12, so this is the opportunity for UCF to kind of get more eyes on your program and your college, not just recruiting wise, but just that big money and that media coverage, right?
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get a full payout until 25-26, so a couple more seasons. But
it's right on the corner.
But still, it's the big thing has just been the amount of fundraising that our athletic department has been able to do has been nuts. So it's being in this new conference has already paid dividends, both monetarily, but then also with recruiting, and not just in football. Let me go to men's basketball for a second. They beat number 3 Kansas.
That's
at home.
Some blue bloods in that conference.
They beat Texas at Texas in Austin. And I'm not sure if you guys heard the whole Texas's head coach saying, "Oh, they're classless," and
for the horns down thing.
Horns down.
And now everybody's going to be doing that harder now.
Mm-hmm. We've already solidified our place in the conference
just by doing that.
Because of that, because yeah, it
6.
Yeah, no one likes Texas, so no one's gonna feel for this team.
Exactly, they can go fuck themselves. 7.
Yeah, although they still have to go to the SEC.
But here's the other thing, though. We are not the first team to have used horns down. We will not be the last team.
But this is like the first time somebody from that organization, or maybe not the first time, but it's the latest example of someone who has outwardly said that really bothers us and is living rent-free in our heads.
Yeah. Exactly.
It grinds my gears.
Yeah.
And kind of to couple with that, and then as a follow-up, well, usually the enforcement, quote unquote, has been through the conference. But there was a game a couple of weeks ago. It was at BYU. It was Texas at BYU. there was a group of kids in the student section, first row, that wore T-shirts that one letter each that spelled out "horns down." During a TV timeout, supposedly BYU or maybe Texas, nobody knows, forced them to change their shirts.
What?
They get so butthurt over horns down.
Like, what has Texas done to warrant this kind of like autonomy?
At first off, their basket. I mean, what, KD went there, right, for like a season. So
yeah,
but like, their basketball program's not really known for anything, right? So
yeah,
not really.
Not anymore. The football program.
I'm looking at the standings right now. They're 15-7, but they're only 4-5 in conference play.
Yeah,
which is the same record as UCF, by the way. In
conference play matters most.
So conference play matters most, especially when you have Kansas. You have number 4 Kansas, number 5 Houston, number 13 Baylor, number 14 Iowa State, and number 23 Texas Tech in your conference. So
yeah, this conference is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And our men's basketball team has historically not been that great. They have not been.
Y'all have Ball, right? That's the only guy I remember.
Not everybody can be FAU.
Taco Fall.
Thank you. I knew it was a big guy.
We had Taco, and I think there was a very famous. Hold on, let me look it up. There's a
35-22 Heat Magic.
Wait, hold on. UCF Sports Info. There was one player that his name sticks out in my mind, but I can't remember what his name is. Here we go. NBA.
All right, so
we have Taylor Hendricks. Taylor Hendricks played for us. Matt Williams, although they played just 1 year. Jermaine Taylor.
The Jordan brothers, right? Michael Jordan's sons played there.
Yeah. Marcus and God, I forget the other brother's name. That's so bad.
The one dating Kevin's ex-wife.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, Jermaine Taylor only played 2 years. Interesting. Yeah, we have not had a whole lot of guys go into the association.
Well, not a lot of people do, and I think that's what people need to remember when it comes to basketball. All those schools, all those players.
Yeah,
and if you're not from a blue blood,
and that league in particular, because you only get 12 players on a roster.
Yeah, 15 players, and there's only 60 players drafted every year, and the G League is comprised of the extras, some of those,
and now they don't even have college
guys
in the G League anymore,
and international players now, right? So especially now international, you got more competition for players coming from over there. So yeah, I mean, it's not as easy to crack. There's not as many roster spots like in NFL. You'll have some guy from like, I don't know what.
You'll have a Brock Purdy, a 7th rounder.
Yeah, or freaking Allen from Wyoming. I mean, sheesh.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy from Wyoming ever been in the NBA,
So I think the biggest name player we've had was Jermaine Taylor. Although Taylor Hendricks did get drafted number 9, so we'll see how that pans out.
This year?
But yeah, I overall, this has been a great move for UCF. Some of my friends disagree. They think we should have stayed in the American Athletic Conference.
Absolutely.
Because
based on basketball, or
just their argument is based solely on football. And let me explain why. Their argument is, with the expanded playoff coming up, which is as of right now, but it's likely to change. You know what? I'll just go with the likely change. It's going to be 5+7, as they're calling it, where it's going to be the top 5 conference champions, which basically means the Power Four, RIP Pac-12, the Power Four, and then the top group of 5, which the group of 5 is generally the best conference, and generally whoever wins the American get, at least in the current format,
gets
of
a guaranteed spot in a sense.
Correct. Like, let's see, last year it was Tulane. UCF got it in 2017 and 2018. Houston did it and beat Florida State. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, generally, or Cincinnati, they went to the actual playoff in that year. But yeah, I think all but 2 or 3 seasons under the current system, the winner of the American was the one that was the group of 5 representative. So my friend's argument, which I disagree with wholeheartedly, is that under the new system, starting next season, it would behoove us to be in a easier conference, quote unquote, so we would have constant access or easier access to getting that playoff spot as the top group of 5 team. Their argument is flawed because it's not accounting for the other dozen or so teams in the on campus. Not to mention, there's a whole lot of money for being in a Power 5 conference, and the recruiting goes through the roof. We're picking up guys in football left and right that we would have no business getting. I think in back-to-back seasons, last season and this season, we've picked up. Well, last season is confirmed. He played this season. Was our highest-ranking recruit ever, John Walker, out of Osceola High School in Kissimmee. And then I forget what his name is, but we flipped a recruit from Auburn who is going to be, if he signs, this is next year, he would be our highest recruit ever. So assuming that he sticks, which we don't know, he's already flipped once, and I try not to get excited about signing about commitments until they sign. We've hit back-to-back years getting our highest rated recruit, and all of our recruiting classes have been the highest under Gus. And it's just going up because of the new conference. I think it's really stupid to bite one's nose to spite one's face.
Long-term vision. Like, this is gonna
exactly.
In the short term, we need whatever. It's like, well, you can't get, like, you'll still get the disrespect and all that stuff if you don't move. So now you're here now. Yeah. You're with the big boys now, so it's time.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, we're probably not going to be in constant contention for a conference championship while we're in the Big 12, but who is? I mean, really, it was just Oklahoma. They're gone now, so there's going to be a lot more parity in the conference. And now you've got Colorado. You've got the four corner schools coming in. You got Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah coming into the conference starting next year. So it's going to be an absolute free-for-all in this conference. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I went on a tangent. It's been nice. It's nice to have a tangent again. I haven't gone on a tangent in a long time. I'm enjoying this. It's like a warm hug.
Well, are you gonna finish your thought or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I would kind of wrapping back to Charles' main point. How do I feel about this first season? I mean, it's still not over. We're not even done with the fall with the winter sports yet. We still have the spring sports as well.
Yeah, who's the big powerhouse baseball program in the Big 12?
Well,
Texas,
historically Texas.
But now that they're leaving along with Oklahoma, who would be who'd fill that vacuum?
Maybe OSU. Just off the top of my head.
They went to a final, right?
Let's see.
I'm proud of us.
Arizona State has had for that. Arizona State has had some history in the past. I think. Let me confirm this.
I mean, Arizona State had. I mean, Barry Bonds went there, right? So, you know. They've
I think so.
Yeah.
Houston's pretty decent, I think.
We're at an hour and 8 minutes. I just kind of wrap the Big 12 CF thing, and then we'll move on. But the question that I had.
So definitely Texas.
Let me see.
I know Texas Tech has had some recent good times.
So let's see. So as far as conference tournament titles, since I guess 2011 is when they started this in the Big 12, it's Texas has the most. They've got 5. They've appeared 22 times, and then Nebraska, but they're not in that anymore, right?
Correct. They're in the Big Ten.
So TCU's got 4, along with 10 appearances there. Oklahoma, but they're going to leave. Then Oklahoma State has got 3 tourney titles. Then Baylor, Kansas, Missouri. Actually, Mizzou's gone too. And then Texas Tech all have 1. And then like Kansas State and West Virginia have nothing. I've never even.
Well, see, there you go. It's a bummer in terms of the losing your big teams in Texas and Oklahoma. Those are the ones that really brought in the money. Let's be honest. But the amount of money that we're getting, that the teams are getting for the contract, is not changing, because even though they're leaving, and it's just going to introduce more even competition. At least in most of the sports, unless it's like women's basketball, where it's pretty much dominated by Baylor, or men's basketball, where it's pretty much dominated by Kansas. But it's a free-for-all in most of the other sports, so it'll be fun. And again, money, lots of money.
Okay. Well, speaking of things we spend our money on, or time and everything like that, that's a word from our non-sponsors and people and places and things and concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week, and maybe Andrew over the last months or so. I guess I'll start because I already know what mine is. I kind of alluded to it last week, but I'm doing it now because I'm kind of getting back into watching things again. Now that Andrew, I'm no longer trying to beat 100 games per year now. It's slowed down. I'm trying to expand my horizons. You know, once we do the reboot of this show, we can get back to Frankly Frank, where you guys suggest, movies and TV shows or music for me to check out as well, so I can be less of a heathen out here. I did try the Publix Panthers sub, and actually I had 2 this week, but Andrew came back, and that was going to be the other one, Charles. So
what's in the Panthers?
You know what? I'm going to start with that one. I'm doing 2 this week, but it's my show. I can do whatever I want. So the first one is the Publix Panthers sub. So the Florida Panthers, starting this season, have Publix as a big sponsor for them. And with that comes a few things. They've got Now the front of the arena is now called the Publix Plaza. If you go through the parking lots, they have 2 tents set up on each side of the parking lots, and there'll be Publix employees there, and they have like little bits of food. They've got the chicken tenders and everything like that, so you can kind of walk up to them and grab some nice treats for you to try out there. And this past week or so, they announced the Panthers sub. So it's a specialty sub made for the Florida Panthers. I think the Miami Dolphins have a version of their own that gives you horrible diarrhea afterwards, just like the Miami Dolphins do every season. Dolphins fans, Andrew, you were not here for the reckoning where I predicted and wrote the story of the Miami Dolphins season way ahead of time, and then everything came to fruition, as I always know, because the Dolphins always disappoint people, and this is the year that people finally broke. I think you may have seen my stuff that I posted along the way as the Dolphins' downfall happened, but I got incredibly stiff throughout that entire moment, especially those last couple weeks, and everybody just kind of knew the writing on the wall there. But the Panthers do have a sub, and it is a hot honey chicken tender sub. It comes with the hot honey chicken tenders along with bacon. It's got the fried dill pickles inside of them, and of course the defaults with the lettuce and the tomatoes, and your choice of cheese. I ordered mine. Got one of the Publix in Doral, which I always go to near my office. It's I got the foot long, and I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. So I recommend this. Andrew, I don't know what we haven't been able to see what your progress is on the spice meter, right? Trying to get you to be able to
it has not really progressed all that much.
Oh, well, have to keep working on that.
If I'm being honest,
can't give him Melinda's just yet.
Okay, all right, but this one does have a bit of a kick to it. I also like the way they did this. So, from what I understand, the chicken tenders are. It's not a glaze that they put over that's the hot honey. I think it's actually baked into, or at least it's heated with the chicken tenders themselves. So it's almost like they're integrated into the actual breading itself, which is
we would call that a rub.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it in that sense. It wasn't like the hot honey chicken sandwiches that they had at Wendy's was just the glaze, right? So that was the difference here. And I actually enjoyed it that way. I got mine toasted, so that also probably helped with that baking in that flavor from the hot honey. A different taste of the honey, Charles. I wouldn't say it was as sweet as the one that you got from Wendy's, but it was
just tangy.
Yeah, I would say more tangy in that sense, but still noticeable. And the fried dill pickles is a nice contrast with the saltiness of that and this kind of the flavoring there. I got Swiss cheese with mine, so just because Swiss cheese melts pretty good, so I like that as well.
Not pepper jack, huh?
No, I didn't want to overdo it now, but I like Swiss cheese. And I also noticed that mine had, they have the slice of bacon that they put on there, but I don't know, there was a bit of flourish on mine because I had the bacon bit as well. So that actually helped too. I didn't think the bacon was necessary. It helps, but I don't think it was necessary in this instance. So, for the swine not inclined people like Andrew, you don't have to get it with that, and you wouldn't miss anything from it. And overall, I got it with the whole wheat bun, and it was pretty good, man. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty solid sandwich, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. 8.5 out of 10. So I didn't put any ketchup on it either, so I'm not gonna do that. thing with that, but maybe next time. Promo code Heathen. That's what I am.
I'll go. We'll give Andrew the grand finale.
Yeah.
So I'll go last.
Yeah, we'll give you last. It's been a bit. So mine, it was simple, right? Because the problem is, the last couple of weeks in the chat, and I always wish we could publicate and publish the chat sometimes.
We did briefly show it last week when we were showing off your photos from the Royal Rumble.
Which was great. But that was probably like the least unhinged. But the 3 things I want to suggest were all food-based. But I've mentioned them before in like the last span of 2 months. But, this is a sports show, everybody. But what we're going to transition to at some point when we reboot, relaunch, think Scrubs, when it became the university, except they're actually going to be very good, is a gaming session. So, in the last 10 days, you know me, I find opportunity out of anything. And it was one of those rare situations where I actually had to pay for a game, but not by choice, because your boy bought pants off of Amazon, if you guys remember that group chat thread, and they didn't match my suit jacket. But your boy is not always technologically inclined, and he forgot to put the refund back on his debit card. So where to go to? Amazon credit. But lo and behold, about a month ago, a certain game went on sale that was the same price as what I had on a gift card from Amazon. So when you hear about games, there's the stuff that you've played that you love, and then you get certain people who tell you, oh, you gotta play this. And I'm an RPG guy. But if the year of 2024 video gaming for Francisco is about no longer doing 100 games, I would say the year of 2024 for video gaming for Charles is to kind of go outside your comfort zone a little bit, to carry over to 2023. So I had an SNES. I literally had only like 7 games because I bought it about circa 1999. So we were easily transitioning to the 3 pixel games, going to the 64-bit era and all that fun jazz. But I never played, what was it? It wasn't Super Mario RPG. It was called Mario RPG, Legend of 7 Stars.
Super Mario RPG, Legend of 7 Stars, yes.
Thank you. So about 2 months ago, Nintendo remade Super Mario RPG into their kind of like little cute home styles, what I call, right? Like Mama's Meatloaf kind of equivalent on the Switch. Very akin to how they did Link's Awakening. So your boy played it. He needed something diametrically different from Alan Wake 2 upon Francisco's consent, and then Andrew's like implicit consent. So yeah, I got you. And I liked it. I finished it, Saturday or Sunday? Friday. I finished it Friday. Wasn't a long game, about 15 hours. Essentially what you need to know is this is Nintendo's, I believe, first foray into doing RPGs, role-playing games. I'm not talking about like role-playing games where it's action, all this stuff.
Technically, it's Square Enix.
Square Enix had done so. Well, yeah, that's right. It was a joint effort. Listen, we're not going to get too technical here, but Nintendo allowed it to be licensed as such. How about that?
Okay.
Instead of your typical platformers and Tanuki kind of little power-ups, you just had Mario chilling with his boys, Mallow, Gino, Bowser, and Peach. And I think for what it was, I enjoyed it. I gave it a soft 8 because what's the one rule? I can't review games until I complete it. Why? Because what if something happens I hate it? But it's your cute little artsy, wholesome 3D turn-based. I won't call it tactical RPG, but kind of like that turn-based, very simple. Good time. Your role is that you're going to help Mallow and Gino collect the 7 stars, figure out Mallow's history, and just kind of, it's not really against Bowser, against Smithy, right? And his gang that comes into it. But it was unique. It was different. The only Mario RPG I played was the one that happened on the Wii, which it wasn't, damn it, I forgot what the name of it was. Super Paper Mario, but I never finished it, and one day I will, but I would need to go remake. But for what it's worth, I told you in the chat, was it revolutionary to the people who played on Super Nintendo? I would say no. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, because what did I do? Like, everything that I enjoy about the Switch is I can multitask. What was I doing? I was listening to the Dresden Files, the re-listen of, was it Cold Days? No, Skin Game. As I was playing this, because just chat box and just texts and stuff like that. And I was able to really kind of listen to the soundtrack, which was very good. Deal with the combat, which is very simple. But I felt pretty good about it. I made my party and team. I would say I was a little disappointed that they didn't add anything new to it. They added new stuff. I'm talking about like new sort of like Geno. What happens to her? Geno, whatever you call him. Geno Salami, right? But I think it's good for anybody who hasn't played it like me. I think it's good if you're just trying to pack up that Switch library on its swan song, because we're getting there. We have a maniacal thing that I did because I traded in the minute I finished it. I wasn't there for the end game credits. I got $30 out of it. I have a total of $264 in GameStop credit. We know I'm about to pull out the biggest con. But back to the game itself, it was enjoyable. It was cute. It didn't overstep its welcome, wear it out, or anything of nature. About 15 hours to beat it. Post credits, there is some post game content that you go for if you choose. Not for me, but you guys go from there. And I am trying to expand to turn-based RPGs, which coincidentally, if it's not Pokemon, the last few games have been the Mario's versus Sparks of Hope and Rabbids, and then with Super Mario RPG. But I liked it. I think it's worth the time. If you have cash, I don't think it's worth 50 or 60. I do think it's in the 30-40 range because one of the trading credits can be high. But it was good. It was wholesome. It was cute. I really rocked with Mallow as my third, considering the fact that he had the lightning strike, and as the game gets more, it wasn't a hard game at all. I didn't really die except going against Jinx, but when you're going against multiple amount of villains and enemies, you want the lightning strike that comes from it. That is like my biggest complaint. I don't like, my problem with turn-based games is sometimes I feel like the villains could just be sponges and the enemies could be sponges. You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense. But if I'm not really having to strategize on anything and build up a plan, and I'm just listening to whatever and then following whatever on the Twitter, I feel like it hurts a little bit. But a soft 8 is still an 8 at the end of the day. So Super Mario RPG, highly recommend it. Go give it a try. I don't think it's anything revolutionary, but if you missed out like I did, or if you just want to see if Nintendo and Square Enix can build up something that's very cute and interesting from an old era to the newest era, give it a shot. Promo code Valentina.
Okay. So I have my second one, and Andrew can get his last one. We're at an hour and 24 minutes, just so you guys know the time. So I had this planned. Once again, I guess I did the pub sub inadvertently, but regardless, I've got this one planned. And it's an anime. So I've been watching stuff again.
Man, you're on that.
Yeah, I have been pretty good on it. So this one is called Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. It was formerly not formerly, but it was a manga, and then they translated it into an anime this past year. It's on Apple TV. You can watch it there, but I watched it on Hulu, and it's about 12 episodes for the first season. It's set up so that you can have at least 2 seasons for this, at the very least. So it actually really it's on Netflix as well, I think. Oh no, they have a live action show on Netflix, so they got a live action version. I haven't watched that. I think that's an actual movie. I might see that now that I've seen this anime. But the actual anime itself starts out with this guy, and he works at, I think, like a marketing company or something like that, and he is miserable at his job. His boss sucks. He only has time for work, doesn't have time for himself to get out with friends or see his family. He's from like a small farm village in Japan, and he moved to Tokyo, and he has a miserable life. And then one day, the zombie apocalypse happens. A virus, fungus, or whatever gets out, and suddenly, like, everything's like the apocalypse is happening right now. And he looks outside, and he's like, taking in everything that's happening. And the first thing out of his mind is like, I don't have to go to work anymore. So he is looking at the end of the world, the zombie apocalypse, as like the best thing for him, because now he gets to enjoy life again. So he goes out. He first he's found a way to kind of survive. He meets this girl who also, she's out there and she's finding a way to survive, but she's kind of standoffish in that sense. He finds his best friend alive from college, and they get back together again, and now they're hanging out, and eventually they become a trio. And then, like, they found this foreign exchange or person, and she's like from Germany and she's in Japan, and they join up with her, and it's about them and their adventures. And he's like, I want to make a bucket list of all the things that I wanted to do in my life. And so they all go out and try and do all the fun things, all the things that they wanted to do in life, just with the zombie apocalypse happening at the same time. And there's some pretty, I mean, there's some pretty good episodes where, some parts of his past kind of come back to him and make you really like question like your own life's like work, home ratio and balance. And that make you think, man, I kind of see that in myself, and that would also suck. And yeah, I can kind of see why he was kind of burnt burnt out or just completely destroyed by work to the point where a zombie apocalypse is actually a good thing for him. So it's really good. It makes you think in that sense. And I think I would recommend it to us nihilistic millennials out there for sure. I think that's why it resonated with me a lot, to be honest. So yeah,
is it because you spent all day watching CLEs?
Yeah, I did that too. So yeah, and it's a pretty cool art style, and it's not just human beings that become zombies in this. Animals also could become zombies. So but it's pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. So I think everybody should give this a shot. So promo code bucket list.
All right, I guess it's my turn again.
Yeah.
I had tough time deciding. I was thinking about it. There are two games that I play just kind of take my mind off things and just kill time. I'll go with this one because it's a bit of a nostalgia trip. It's a game called RuneScape.
Okay. Runescape,
exactly. RuneScape, what have you. This is an old game. It's at least 20 years old. But I played it religiously when I was in middle and high school, particularly middle school. It's like 6th through 8th grade. Played this game a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Do you play the current version or do you play the old school version?
I play the old school version.
Okay.
Go with the nostalgia. But so what this game is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's set in, I don't know, would you call it medieval?
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
Yeah, it's a fantasy game. It's a MMORPG. And you can be a mage, you can be an archer, you can be a knight, whatever. It's not the most exciting game per se. A lot of your time is just spent leveling up, and I would say it's almost like the gaming equivalent of fishing, where you just spend a lot of time doing stuff and maybe not necessarily getting any sort of major progress. But it's a nice way to kill time. I started playing again at someone's recommendation because they play it now. They kept playing it since middle school. But yeah, it's a fun little game. It's mostly nostalgia, but like right now I'm shooting arrows at a giant, getting my range up. So it's a nice way to, like if you just want to, I know some people like watching reality TV or whatever to, just relax and not have to think about anything for a little bit. This is kind of a game like that. And I'm not saying it isn't a bad thing. It's a good game. I enjoy playing it. And mostly, at least right now, it's just the nostalgia kick. Because, again, this was a game that I played when I was in middle school. So, and I'm playing on the same graphics. They've updated the graphics, but they also gave you the option of using the old graphics. Which is really nice, and I enjoy it. I pick it up every now and then. It's a good time. So RuneScape, you can play it for free for the most part. There's some extra stuff that you can pay a subscription for, but you really don't need it. Give it a shot. If you decide to join, I'm on there as, of course, Stamp Frijoles. Promo code Runescape.
Yeah, I did. One time, I guess I suggested to you a video about some of the scandals of RuneScape. So just some there's some stuff that's happened in the community that is a bit salacious. A bunch of Venezuelans are playing it to make money because if you farm for gold, it's actually worth more. The RuneScape gold, the currency in the RuneScape game, is actually worth more than actual Venezuelan bolivares. So the Venezuelan currency is worth less than RuneScape gold.
Well, that's a little disparate.
Yeah, a lot has changed in the 15 plus years since I was playing it regularly. A lot of people started using bots and just... It's kind of disappointing because it's most of the people you interact with now are not people.
Or Venezuelans, and that's why Andrew's been learning Spanish a lot now, Charles.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So there you go. We're at an hour and 34 minutes. I really have nothing to say about the Super Bowl, to be honest.
Just make predictions to win, and that's it, man. That's all we can do.
San Francisco.
I want to mention something. So this, because it is a CBS broadcasted Super Bowl, they will be showing the game on Nickelodeon using their patented Nickelodeon style, I guess, because they've done Nickelodeon games in the past, usually Thanksgiving or one playoff game. But they decided to take it up a notch and go to the Super Bowl. The game, the broadcast will begin with Sweet Victory from SpongeBob, which, hell yeah. Although I'm still disappointed that they didn't open the actual halftime show a few years ago when...
Travis Scott.
I forget his name, unfortunately.
Travis Scott.
But the creator of SpongeBob passed away.
Oh, Shea Hillenbrand.
So they teased it, but didn't follow through, which was such a tease. I think that made people more mad than if they had just not done anything.
So I've got here on Awful Announcing here. This is the SpongeBob crew that will be doing the Super Bowl this year. Let's see. They say it's going to blow everybody away, so we're gonna see what exactly that entails. But let's see who's the crew here. So SpongeBob and Patrick will be part of the commentary alongside Noah Eagle and Nate Burleson. Okay, and there will also be Sandy Cheeks will be a silent reporter, and Larry the Lobster will be talking to players on the field. I don't even know how that's gonna work. But that is what's gonna be happening, and I will be going to my sister's place to see the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to keep in mind that that's going to be happening on Nickelodeon, so I can kind of tell her like, hey, just pop on Nickelodeon real quick.
Now, would it be Nickelodeon or Paramount Plus? Is my big question.
I think
Probably they say Nickelodeon,
yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of Paramount Plus, did y'all see the new ad for Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Yes.
I already made fun of Tua for it.
I love that. That was such a good ad.
The Trekkie inside of you was really happy about that. Huh?
Knuckles can just climb with his knuckles.
Exactly. Don't know why they didn't just, but whatever. Regardless.
I mean, he's not going to volunteer
the full ad made me hilarious. Was hilarious. I mean, Patrick Stewart saying couldn't help handle the pressure. I was like, oh.
No, he's like not built for the moment. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, in the 5th quarter.
Yeah. So that was in the 5th quarter. It's going to be the 7th inning stretch, and yeah. So it was very good. And then they looked at Peppa Pig, and that was the end of it. But they supposedly they're gonna have preview of the Knuckles show, or at least like a commercial for it. So I want to see that because we're gonna run up to Sonic 3, everybody. So awesome.
Is that actually going to be a movie or?
They're doing a Knuckles TV show on Paramount Plus to lead into
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3.
Yeah. So I am super excited.
Were Sonic 1 and 2 any good?
I didn't see 2. I liked 1.
I've seen both.
Yeah.
Sonic 1, given the fact that they had to completely redo a lot of stuff, they pulled it off in not horrible video game movie fashion. Sonic 2 was everything that I ever wanted as a child in 1994. Mm-hmm. And Sonic 3 is going to be everything that I ever wanted as a child in 2001. So, yeah.
Sonic 1 was better than Mario movie. To give you some insight, it just didn't make the same amount of money.
Yeah. Sonic, the Mario movie, I mean, it's a marketing tool. It had its purpose. It did what it needed to do. But regardless, as a Sonic fan, I of course loved it because they actually did justice to the character and the entire setup of Sonic 3 and the setup now to Sonic Adventure 2. So somebody in Hollywood is actually giving a shit 7 about this franchise. So that's which is more than we can say for actual Sega at times. So there we go. And we're getting Sonic Generations plus Shadow, so that you guys can play it as well, which I highly recommend as another thing in the run up to Sonic 3. So there we go. Yeah. Aside from that, Super Bowl, I 49ers, I guess, for me.
See, it's tough because on one hand, George Kittle likes wrestling, and I sent you guys the chat in my tweet and reply saying, screw it, go Niners. But on the other hand, I really want to piss off,
conservative white men.
I was going to say misogynistic conservative white men, because that's really what it is. There's a difference between saying conservative white men, because some people don't care or hate Taylor Swift, but this whole trend about it makes me just want to see her kiss Travis Kelce right in the middle of the field.
And kiss the Vince Lombardi trophy.
I want her to be able to touch something that you guys would never be able to touch. Like, in that sense. I really want that. My petty knows no boundaries, because I've been saying it for as long as we brought back the show. It is really interesting how, one, CBS, NBC, Fox, and ESPN/ABC, they're going to market her, but it's not like she's on camera throughout the duration of the game. I always bring it back that you did this shit, 10 to Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo. These are decent human beings. There's still some people who were supporting Deshaun Watson and wearing his jersey, and O.J. Simpson kind of did just as bad.
The Baltimore Ravens welcome back Ray Rice.
Yeah, that was nuts.
And Ray Lewis killed a guy, allegedly.
And
so
they also
it's like,
welcome back to him, too. So, yeah.
So I'm like, but if it's all that's just glimpse to her, and I think
Dolphins fans have completely ignored everything Tyreek Hill has ever done.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think it's because I'm a wrestling fan where you bring in like celebrities in and you invoke it. I mean, there's a certain, I guess you call him celebrity. I think he's killed every movie franchise known to mankind, you know, back into the wrestling fold. But so it doesn't bother me, but I kind of want her to win. But the problem is if they win, I know her, but if the Chiefs win, it goes to what we talked about the narrative leading to playoffs, that regular season just doesn't matter when you're that great and you can just turn it on like nothing, because this was a team that won 11-6 and then they decimated the Dolphins. They put to bed the Bills and just can't get over that hump for Josh Allen. And then they ended Lamar Jackson in his supposed MVP year. So it's like, but then there's the other side of me that says, well, if the Niners win, then everybody's going to think that we shouldn't draft first and second round QBs, because if the Niners won with a 7th round pick, then we can do it too, which is just the worst mindset that you can think of, I think, in building a team. I just don't know, but I have that feeling. I have that feeling that Taylor magic, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me, is going to be the problem for the misogynist white men. So I kind of want the Chiefs to win. And that's all I can really say, because I love me some Usher. A lot of misogynistic white men are going to feel very uncomfortable if Little Freak starts playing with Nicki Minaj showing up. Just saying, or my way, and I'll start crooning and singing. I think the Super Bowl is what you want it to be, which is just a gathering to be invested in a very bland season. And this was the most bland season of football I've done with you guys in 5 years of doing the show. I have been apathetic to football. It's not because my team has sucked. It's really because of the fact that all the quarterbacks kind of went down and there's no intrigue or interest. So it really does feel like last man standing. Teams that had quarterbacks that didn't get injured. But I just didn't even care. I didn't even care about the firings. Bill Belichick got fired unceremoniously or just off the radar. It didn't matter. Vrabel fired. Yay. You know, we got Brian Cowan. Woohoo. Let's see where that takes us. All these other guys got kind of fired. Mike McCarthy's still around some way, somehow, some reason. And then it just doesn't matter. Like, this was it was consequential, but it didn't matter, right? At the end of the day, it felt like an election year. Life goes on. I just want good chicken wings. I've been craving it. I want to see the Deadpool 3 trailer, even though I'm and concerned. And I'll watch the Knuckles trailer.
Yeah. How about you, Andrew? What are you looking forward to?
Well, obviously the ads. The ads are really my favorite part, unless the game gets exciting towards the end.
You know what ruins the ads things now? They release them like a week before.
I know.
If you don't watch it, it's not a problem.
Yeah, but then like I'm watching YouTube and suddenly like a brand. That's how I saw the freaking Paramount Plus ad was a YouTube ad that just popped up, and I'm like, oh, this is funny. And then I read the article. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a Super Bowl ad. I'm like, what the fuck? You ruined it for me.
Yeah, that was
8.
That was the exciting part of the ads, because you never knew what was going to happen next. I mean, look, the whole Old Spice campaign that started as a Super Bowl ad. You kind of lose that bit of surprise because they're not publishing in advance, and I get why some of them do it. They publish a full version. So they don't have to pay the full minute price.
True.
And then some companies, they just don't want to pay that money, period. So they just they just do it on the side. So they don't even have to pay I read somewhere that a 30-second ad for this one is $7 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can just be like, "Oh, this is our Super Bowl ad," and nobody would know if it ever showed up or not. You know,
Doritos had the good stuff too, aside from the Old Spice and a few ones. It beats out having to do with like Ford and Dodge and everything like that, with their cars being the advertisement.
I think the movie companies do it probably the best because they wait until the actual game is broadcast, especially if it's from Paramount's got a bunch of stuff lined up because that's their entire movie lineup for the year.
Yeah.
I will say the team that I would like to win is the 49ers. And let me explain why. It has absolutely nothing to do with Taylor Swift.
Well, actually, no, Andrew. We need you to piss off the Swifties so we can get the numbers up.
No.
You don't want to fight that man. Trust me.
No.
Let's hit into that.
Absolutely not. I'm not in the position or of the mindset to make anyone angry just for clicks. I'm not Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless.
Mm-hmm.
But
we actually support women here and their choice of music.
The opposite happened with Colin Cowherd. He's got a bunch of Swiftie Sims calling him a silver fox and everything after his rant.
Look, no one ever said Colin Cowherd was a dumb man,
Oh, the man knows exactly how to get the clicks.
So my reason for wanting the Niners to win is purely and simply, unless it's my team, I really do not like dynasties. I like there to be a little bit of variety in my professional sport champions, or really sport champions in general. That's why I was not overly enthused with the Patriots and not overly enthused with Alabama and not overly enthused with Georgia in recent years. I just like my variety. The exception being if it's UCF, Tampa Bay, or Orlando. If it's a team that I support, then hell yeah, dynasty all the way. And yes, I know that's hypocritical, but I don't care.
I don't think that's hypocritical. I think that's every rational fan, right? We hate dynasties unless it's our team.
Indeed.
Right.
And all three people here in this combo have had some equivalent of a dynasty in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that's actually been an interesting question. Or I'll save that for another episode. But so anyway, the Chiefs, they've won 2 Super Bowls over the course of 5 seasons now? Or they could be going for 3 for 5.
Yeah.
I think they're going for 3 for 5 here.
No, I think it's they've only lost once, and that was to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
And then they didn't make it to the
they didn't make
Rams
it when Burrow and the Rams won. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I would, regardless of how this game goes, I'd already consider them a dynasty. Going 4 times in 5 years, winning 2 of them.
Hold on. Sorry, Andrew. I think I get you, but that was a debate that was going on amongst the sports Twitter thing as to what exactly is a dynasty nowadays, right? Because
finals appearances with wins.
Okay, so would you count? So that would count like the Houston Astros then, because they've got.
It would count it would count the Astros. It would not the Dodgers because they won. It would count the Heat. In the LeBron era, 1-2, lost 2.
So the Chicago Blackhawks, the San Francisco Giants.
At least 2 championship titles and at least 3, 4, 5 appearances.
Okay. All right.
I know
the standards have lowered now because there's a lot more parity amongst all the leagues now, right?
Allegedly.
Correct. The big thing that's changed is, so as someone pointed out, is salary caps. Let's say the Montreal Canadiens, they were in the original 6. They won most of their championships when there were only 6 teams, or even some of them that they got in the 60s.
They still won 9 championships after the expansion, but they haven't won since the introduction. The introduction of the Ducks and the Panthers, actually, and with the doing away of the Wales Conference and the Campbell Conference as well.
I'm not taking anything away from the Canadians in their history. But
and of course, Patrick Waugh getting pissed off and leaving also kind of didn't help things.
Yeah. the definition of a dynasty has had to change because the way that rosters are created has changed.
Okay.
But then the Chiefs end up getting it without having any main guys besides Travis Kelce, Mahomes on offense. They built a team on defense primarily through the draft. Just saying.
I think.
I know that
at least like 2 core guys and the coach to hang around, right? So like, yeah, the Chiefs with Reed and Mahomes.
They also have Chris
and
Jones
Kelce
on defense. We're not going to disrespect his name.
Okay.
Either.
And then the Blackhawks had, of course, Taze and Kane and Quenville. The Giants had Bochy and Posey and Bumgarner, Sandoval. And you had, of course, the Yankees, right? That dynasty as well with Torrey and all those guys.
We got no good pitching.
Don't say Pettit.
Don't say Pettit.
Okay. I mean, he was there in '96, and
he rode those coattails.
And 2009,
he got 5 titles out of it. He rode each coattail.
Okay, Mariano.
Was he a Cy Young winner?
Mariano and Jeter and
he won 20 games.
Posada.
Yeah. Posada, mind you, being a catcher is kind of tough to stand out on any team in any dynasty. It feels like, Bobby. It'll be a cold day in hell. My body in the ground before I get Pettit love. For 5 years that you guys have been with me, I have been like on Pettit.
True.
Like white on rice.
True. Okay. All righty. All right. Just cool.
Dynasty 2 wins, right? We got to put that out there. At least 2 wins.
Yeah, at least 2 wins.
At least 2.
With
I guess.
More than 3
the
appearances.
Third one is really hard.
2 for
to get.
2 for 2 doesn't count, right? I need multiple appearances. I'll take a minimum of 2 wins and 3 appearances in a final.
So 2 and 3 appearances then. So like the Blue Jays of '93 and '92 wouldn't count.
Yeah.
But
you brought up for Houston as a good example.
Okay, Houston and so like if who's been in the Dodgers would have to win a second one run then, right?
I think their time has faded up.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, they put
because there's nobody really on that team that was their OGs except for Kershaw. If you're talking about at least having a face of the franchise, it's just Kershaw because all the OG guys since.
I mean, Mookie was on the 2020 team, so.
But he was a trade-in, right?
Okay, you're talking about like guys that were built and drafted, developed by those teams.
It's kind of tough because the same argument goes for the Niners.
Because the Heat was just Wade, not Bosch and LeBron.
But even in their dynasty is Wade, Bosch, but they had Chalmers. That was into it. UD was into it.
True.
And they
Joel Anthony.
But here's the thing. They still made it in those 4 with even Battier and then Miller. So you had a time to cultivate. Whereas I think the Dodgers literally, all those other guys kind of like faded out. Sear wasn't still on them. A few of the other guys weren't there. I mean, it's tough. You can't hate the consistency of team, but to go to Andrew's point, and I'm going to shift it to him, pivot him, would you call it a dynasty if there was no Stamkos and all those other guys? Right? If you put it into a longer longevity of 6-7 years?
Yeah, because then you get into like the San Antonio Spurs argument where those guys stayed for a long, long time.
And then you just have
Pop and Tim, and David Robinson got old and retired. And then you got Manu and Tony Parker. Or the Penguins had their 09 one, and that was Fleury, Sid, and Malkin. Then their 15 and 16 ones was also with them, but like Fleury was kind of on the way out because was it Murphy was replacing him in that run. So it's
the hard argument goes when you mention the Spurs is that
that's like a 7-year separation between them.
But that's what I'm talking about. Then it changed from being dynasty to best coach of all time kind of gig, right?
I don't. Yeah, but even then, I'm just saying the same core of guys are still there. So it's kind of like
we'll call the core at least needing 1 or 2 guys. But hockey's a different game that I can't speak on. You know,
maybe like cicadas, they just kind of were laid dormant and then they woke up.
Yeah, because the Pop thing, it was a back-to-back. I'm really going into that 99, 2000 to 2005 kind of game, that span.
Yeah, they got 3. They got 3 in that time, yeah.
Yeah, and remember, they really should have had 2 coming into it with the LeBron era. Just calling it what it was. There was just a lot of luck that came in, and the brujeria.
Yeah, if they had played the Pistons, it would have probably been a different series.
Yeah, right. So you see where it comes from, but I always find the dynamics of dynasties interesting. One, because how people hate it, and coming from the Yankee dynasty, it was like, but you're supposed to love the best teams being the best and how they get to being the best. And I find the Chiefs interesting because this is what everybody had told me for all season long, was an offensively impotent team that just played great defense and then just trusted their quarterback and simple running back plays to go from there. And so I think you should love and want them to win because it's done in a different fashion. And it's very similar to me from, I guess, the common comparison, and this is going to be, everybody's going to hate my ass, 11 or 10 for it, is the Brady Rams Super Bowl where they just won like 13-3 and Tom Brady looked awful, right? It's a different kind of gig, and that's where you just kind of transcend the best player and the best coach, and that's what really encapsulates a dynasty at that point.
Any more thoughts, Andrew?
Well, I would add, for the just kind of general discourse of dynasties, regardless of era, I would say it's generally agreed that the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds from the 70s, he had Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan,
Pete Rose.
They only won 2 championships, and I don't even think that they went to.
They went to like 4 World Series in that time frame, though.
I see.
They lost to the Yankees in '77.
So they won 4 pennants, 2 World Series.
Yeah, there you go.
So, like, I know some people, and Charles, I am gonna call you out on this because you did tell me it had to be 3 and 5 years a few months ago.
But what was the Reds? Because I don't know the Reds like that.
And that was in the '70s, different era.
Right. But I would. They're certainly a dynasty for sure. The Big Red Machine. Ken Griffey as well. And so yeah, I think even back then it was 2 wins, 4 appearances. That would certainly be a dynasty. That would definitely be a dynasty today. That kind of consistency under one core. And you were right. I would say the big 2 would be Stamkos, Hedman. They were certainly, but I would also add in recent years Kucherov and Vasilevsky. Like the 4 of them are like.
I think John Cooper is due too, because I think you need a dynasty with
because
the head
once again
coach.
you need the coach.
Yeah.
You rarely have a dynasty that changes coaches. I guess the Cowboys in the '90s did that because they fired Jimmy Johnson.
Well, the Niners as well, because Walsh stepped down, and they had the other guy who came up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Cooper for sure. The dude is a legend already in Tampa. I don't think he
George Seifert.
I don't think he has to buy a beer in Tampa Bay for the rest of his life. But I'm pretty sure I've told you guys this before, but he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a lawyer. It consistently gives me hope that even though I am going to be a lawyer very soon, I can still have fun with my life.
As I wrote to you guys that I did my CLE, and the last one for the Florida bars mandatory CLE about legal professionalism is just this old guy just basically telling you not to blow your brains out.
Yeah, and then
just
we won't say graphically. We won't say graphically what I put in the chat because people put me under a Baker Act. I would just say that I was skilled in multiple things in life before I became a lawyer, and I'll be okay whatever I choose.
Y'all see all the side content that I do, so including this show. So yeah. We are at 2 hours and 1 minute. I just wanted to talk about just a quick blurb. The Serie del Caribe has been here in Miami. It's actually it's been pretty fun. Pretty fun. They had a sellout with one of the games there. I think it was it Puerto Rico, Venezuela, or Dominican Republic and Venezuela. One of those games, but either way, some matchup of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Venezuelans. They got 30,000 plus at Lone Depot Park. So it's been pretty nice. Nicaragua's played as well. They've had a couple good games, but it's really nice to see. I hope the Marlins keep hosting that competition. They're also bidding for the World Baseball Classic as well,
which I'm fine with them hosting. Kind of, I really want there to be a
at the Trop.
I'm not saying it should be at the Trop, but I'd like a little more variety in my venues. I mean, I guess I'm a little bit biased because
you have the Royal Rumble, man. What more variety do you want?
No, he's talking about the World Baseball Classic itself.
Yeah.
But there's only so many stadiums available in March-ish, February, March, that are like Houston, Texas, just the dome stadiums. Houston, Texas, Milwaukee.
They've never been to Houston, so go to Houston.
Go to Milwaukee in February. And you have LA, San Diego, and Anaheim. And I guess the Trop could also host, but that's really it. There's not many other venues in Arizona. Just those dome stadiums, and then Toronto because it's in Canada, and that just have another international flair there.
I mean, that would be if this is the World Baseball Classic. I mean, they've hosted, as far as I know, all of the games have been either in the U.S., Japan, or Korea. That's it. This whole time.
No, it's been in Taiwan. It's been in Mexico, Toronto, and the qualifying events have been held. In Europe,
those are a little different.
Yeah, but it's still part of the entire thing. Still watch the games, and they've had the qualifiers in Florida with some of the spring training venues here. So
yeah,
and it's not just this. I mean, Japan is always the Tokyo Dome because, I mean, even though Japan's got other stadiums, which I think would be nice to see as far as variety is concerned. Taiwan's put in their bid. I think South Korea is trying to get a game played there because I think that's the one country that hasn't been played yet there, Andrew. So I think that.
Oh, is South Korea?
Yeah, South Korea hasn't had a game played there just yet, and
okay.
Australia is a little hard because it's summer over there, and I don't think they have a dome stadium, so that wouldn't really work out around that time. But anyways, it's really nice to see down here, and it kind of gives you hope that if the Marlins ever got good and changed their whole entire branding, maybe.
Well, it wouldn't. It's not just that. You have to keep a core, for God's sake.
Well,
although
that conversation is going to take forever.
I think you said that on Twitter.
I've said a lot of things on Twitter today. Anyways, but as far as somebody saying stuff right now, let's get to the cage because I'm sure there's a bunch of wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the cage.
A while. So Charles, let's head on over.
All right, welcome everybody to your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. Remember and reminder, disclaimer: wrestling is not fake; it's scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance. It's poetry and motion. It's about men and women being the holy hell of each other, chasing championships, establishing legacies, giving that good old soap opera drama, and sometimes drama be real, boys. And I want more to speak about here on The Cage because I've been telling you guys for like 2 weeks. I don't want to make it about WWE. I don't want to make it about WWE. I don't want to make it about WWE. But WWE is synonymous with megalomaniacs sometimes and attention hogs.
I mean, and it's the big bad promotion out there, right? I mean, it's
sometimes it's not about the promotion but the person. And when I want to talk about AEW or New Japan or TNA, can't really talk about Ring of Honor these days because it is part of AEW, right? There's always something that comes in. So I keep feel like I'm telling you guys, I'm like, oh yeah, AEW we'll talk about next week and TNA we'll talk about next week, but I'm kind of wrestle fatigued because
but
I am, yeah, right. I'm going into the greatest insult that can be done in the Spanish world, otra vez, and that, yeah, you get it, and that's how I feel like when we're hitting WWE. So let me hit this right. We'll just do the beats for some of the other ones. TNA changing the name, went from Impact to TNA. We talked about last week. We will focus more on it, maybe if they have more incentivization for me to watch it and follow on the Twitter and go from there. That's that. New Japan, Okada left. We talked about that. Probably going to AEW. Fine, whatever. He ain't going to WWE. No, they why would you want to go to WWE when you could just work 1 or 2 shows a week? Make a lot of money, be around your boys. It's perfect. It's what I would do if they paid us $1 million a year to do the podcast, right? It could be a podcast talking about, presidential conspiracies, and I do it for the money's right. I can hang out with my dudes. What can I say, right? Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, is allegedly supposed to appear soon in AEW. Okay, I never really thought she was going to go back to WWE. Why? Because remember when she started a few times as Mercedes Moné after she had let her contract expire, she tore her knee. She didn't really be able to venture out there and do her own gig. You want to kind of dip your toe in the water, see the money that you can make and get as much cash as you can. Why? Because they're going to profit off of you anyway. And if you're going to get that in the indies or if you can get that in the other promotions instead of WWE, do it. It makes sense, right? That's how you're supposed to finesse the situation. Devil don't play fair, and neither should you, Mercedes. Just saying, take it as it is and what you can do with that. Swerve versus Hangman's happening tomorrow, boys. And Andrew, you've been gone for a bit, but I sent you those messages in the chat. That was the greatest match of 2023, and we will be seated tomorrow to watch Dynamite. They're going to have a continuous storyline for Revolution that I think is going to lead to a triple threat match of Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. But the problem is when you have these long gestated pay-per-views, I don't really have to talk about them now, right? There's no importance. It's just basically talk about prom that's 6 months away, man. We're in February. What do I need to talk about the end of the school year prom, kids? No, this ain't a wacky 80s movie. So we'll pass on it for now. Let's just get the elephant in the room, talk about it, go from there. I hate the WWE. That's how I'm just going to say it. It creates so much toxicity in myself. It creates toxicity in Twitter. And what's funny is before I started the show, I didn't really care about Twitter. I had it, or X, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't utilize it that much. But I find it to be a good absorption of my time when it's slow at work and it's a time killer. Whether it be if I'm following Sam Lake, follow us on the Twitter. Remedy Games, follow us on the Twitter. Just saying, we love you. I was playing Alan Wake 2 earlier just to get some trophies. That's me pimping it out, shilling ourselves, right? That's the appropriate word. I'll get some light news, but the problem is there's a lot of misinformation on news. I'll get the sports highlights, and then I got a lot of wrestling people I follow. Public Enemies Podcast, V, which I think is Hangman or Hollywood Hangman. It's one of it. It's fantastic. Just follow me on my Twitter. You'll find them. Humble Wrestling, which I always send a lot of stuff over there from. But then you got a lot of people, a lot of opinions. And Andrew, your boy is post-wrestling exhaustion from the Royal Rumble going to Tropicana. I did not catch tetanus. I got the feels of annoyance as Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. And I think there's a lot of people who felt very frustrated last Friday as I'm chewing down on some Frankenstein-flavored wings, double fried, hot garlic from Castaways. And I'm seeing on my phone, because I'm expecting Cody and Roman to interact, and I see and I hear that if you smell The Rock coming in with his eyebrows staring down Roman, where Cody looks dead on the inside, doing the handshake, and basically, and I don't know if it's kayfabe. I don't know if it's a work. I don't know if it's a shoot of Cody walking out, giving the idea that he's just going to not finish the story and acquiesce to Rock versus Roman, which no one asked for, and give us Seth versus Cody, which I'm like, I didn't even care for. And I don't know. And that's what I love about wrestling, because Tony and I, we've been BSing with each other. Derek and I, we've been BSing with each other, that this is the most interesting that WWE has been in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Like 3 weeks ago, it was that Raw's going to Netflix on a $5 billion 10-year deal, right? And then there's the Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar craze, which we should not forget about because Vince McMahon's a piece of shit, 12. And Brock Lesnar, if it comes out to be true, and I love you, Brock, but you're kind of a piece of shit. I'm going to Chris Benoit you real quick on that mentality. I don't know if you've been reading the stuff I sent you guys, but that's pretty egregious.
Yeah.
And you could be a great wrestler, but you could be a terrible human being, and I am that person who falls through. I'll call a spade. Like, yeah, that person was a great wrestler, but terrible human being. I hope that hell, right? Not you, Brock. I'm not saying that statement about you. I'm talking about Benoit for sure. But Brock, if you're doing that stuff, I can't support it, man. I can't do it. I'm sorry. And then it turns into the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who became a board director at TKO, and look, I've had board directors that just do it in namesake. They're weekend warriors, but I guess he had that influence, and there's some rumors coming out. And this is the problem with Twitter. It's a misinformation, right? This is literally like 1920s when someone says, "Oh no, you got the cholera? Just drink some whiskey. It'll cure an heartbeat," and people will do it. Or just drink ivermectin. That sounds familiar, right? This is kind of what it feels like in the wrestling days. Oh, you got the Rona? Just take the ivermectin, the horse stuff. It'll cure in a heartbeat. Not necessarily true, but that's what it feels like. And there's so much misinformation out there that part of Rock's deal was that he has the main event WrestleMania with Roman in Philly and then get some proceeds out. I'm like, this is exhausting because I feel like, to me, Rock's not an attraction. And I know you guys would be like, what? But he's 51 years old. Hasn't had a match technically since, I guess, 2016 when he pinned Rowan at WrestleMania 4 seconds. But it was a little quick appearance where it wasn't a full wrestling match. I have really no incentivization to see him versus Roman, as does no other people. I really didn't need to see Roman versus Cody because we would have solved this problem if we just had Cody beat Roman in WrestleMania last year, the first time they met. Very much how you didn't need 7 sequels of Rocky or 6 sequels of Rocky and then the Creed movies that came in, right? If you just had Rocky beat Apollo.
Rip Carl Weathers.
There is no tomorrow. And then, Dylan, you son of a bitch. And just, I'm quoting it, so we're not.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers, by the way.
Yeah. R.I.P. Carl Weathers. Yeah, exactly.
R.I.P.
Fantastic. If he was in The Mandalorian for all you Star Wars nerds, I think that's a good show. It's not.
Or Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. Yeah. I love Squid
as well.
Yeah, just so much good stuff. Fantastic. And I always watch Rocky, either on 4th of July or, just anytime that's on out, or they'll do it twice on 4th of July or then another month. And I always do cry. I always have a tear to shed. And now I shed the real manly tears. But point being is we get Rock and he's not a draw to me. I didn't really care about The Rock when I was a young kid growing up. I think he only got most over for me. And this is just for me. When he was going against Mick Foley, when he was Mankind, and then some of the stuff that he was doing Triple H for the IC title. Austin just kind of handed him his ass 13 for 2 consecutive WrestleManias, and then he finally beat him on the 3rd one before he called it quits. He has an aura. He has a draw, and I don't know the guy personally, so I'm really not going to attack him the way that wrestling Twitter has, but there's a sense of I don't want to say inauthentic. It feels wrong. I do follow him on Twitter. He helped me through law school and I had the Rock alarm as the motivation, but it feels like he's just kind of shilling me that everything is a brand and everything is a product and everything has to be so of high importance where he can't even treat it as a spectacle. And would I want to see Rock versus Roman? Sure. At SummerSlam without the title. Because what's the point of Cody winning the Royal Rumble? And I don't even really want a triple threat match between Cody, Rock, and Roman if it leads to that at WrestleMania. I'd rather have it be Cody versus Roman, Cody wins, and then you get the 3rd match in a steel cage or ladder match, whatever. If and this is what I love about wrestling, but this is also what I hate about wrestling, is that if this is all there to give you a triple threat and Cody wins and Roman doesn't get a clean pin on him, and you get a rematch at SummerSlam where it's just Cody versus Roman, and then Cody gets a 1-2-3. That's fantastic. But the concern of it is you're literally looking at me but what if we're wrong? And all this fervor of everybody saying we want Cody on the Twitter and all the feelings really is just irrelevant, and we're stuck with it. And it's just got to be Rock versus Roman for 30 minutes, and we never get through it. And there's some people partitioning that Rock should win the title, which he's not. And I literally look at as you're taking, and if I could be crass for 2 seconds, where you're looking and doing the big test that you do to get the blood work done. What kind of disease did I catch? And I hope it's not and I'll take and accept, right? The damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. The literal rock in a hard place, no pun intended, going from there. Where you're just like, oh, let me just get something that's like antibiotics, and we're okay coming from it. And especially since Hunter has curated a program or the last year or so that has nothing to do with legends and nostalgia. And literally, I get like 2 weeks without Vince McMahon in play, and I already have a legend coming back calling his shot. I'm like, God damn it, 14. And what it has led to is this exhaustion where I don't want to watch it. I'm watching NXT right now. That's actually how we're going to close the show on positivity. But the idea that I got to be stuck on Rock and Roman, here's my opinion on Roman. You guys know I love him. I own 3 of those shirts. I wore that shirt to Royal Rumble. I don't necessarily view Roman as a heel. I just view Roman as that guy you can either squat up with, be against, or leave it be. And now you have a very interesting dilemma because let's say we don't go with the Cody Rhodes route. Let's say Cody, for whatever reason, just challenges Seth, and Seth's begging Cody to challenge him. I think, do I think it's a work? Yeah, sure. Because wrestling is a carny, and you have to have them suspended disbelief, and you have to have an investment into it because that's what matters. But I've also been spurned by Vince McMahon in the past, so forgive me if I'm a little, traumatized from all of this. I give you numerous instances of it. Like I'm getting right now, just think about it, getting the flashback of things coming to. For every Kofi Mania is Kofi losing to Brock in like 10 seconds, guys. Not fair, not right. I hate it. Or Brock winning the Royal Rumble a couple of years back. Don't need that ish happening in my viewership. I need that to be gone. But what is the interesting effect if you have Rock versus Roman at Mania? You got to cheer for Roman, right? The guy who's been a heel for 4 years, Andrew, who, even though he's now back on the show after some time being gone, will put in chat, I'm just sick of Roman. It's every match. Why do you love him? Everyone interferes. He doesn't win clean. Do you want Dwayne The Rock Johnson to be the guy after almost 4 years to beat this man? Does it turn Roman face? And that's what I hate about wrestling, where you're just like, is the devil I know better than the devil I don't know? It puts you in weird, compromising situations. The enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of mentality. And it's exhausting because it makes me not want to watch Elimination Chamber. That's happening later this month in Perth, Australia. That's going to be happening at 5 a.m. So your boys choose and sleep over that. There's no build to it because Roman's not going to be there. Rock's not going to be there. Seth is injured, so he's not defending his title anytime soon. I think they're doing like a number 1 contenders match in the chamber. So I hate that to begin with because it's a very brutal gimmick match, all for a contendership spot. I'm like, I don't like that either. And so I have post WWE exhaustion. So I promise you guys, the next few weeks, I've been talking about WWE a lot, partially because of the Rumble. The next few weeks is really going to be AEW and NXT. Because if I really have to look forward to in my 2-night event in April, going to be about Rock and Roman, I'm going to watch it because, Stockholm Syndrome, right? But I'm going to hate it. And it's going to be the idea that even though I want a steak, I'll still take a cheeseburger from McDonald's because it's better to being fed than not eating, right? But damn it, I hate being a wrestling fan. Speaking of NXT, to end on a happy note, there was a PLE over the weekend, Vengeance Day, about 6 matches on the card. I watched it. It was just okay. However, the match I'm going to hype on, because I won't go through. I was almost right about everything. That's all you need to know. Obafemi retained. Their Valkyria retained. The family won their 6-person tag match, mixed gender. Baron Corbin and Braun Baker won. Charles was right about a lot of stuff. The main event of Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams, as Humble said, it was the best match of WWE in the year, which has only been 1 month in, but it was the best match of the year. I loved it. I watched it actually last night to finish it through and see it through, and it was like 4.5. Dragunov, who y'all boys know I love, that mad Russian, the Tsar, the NXT champion, going against Trick Daddy, Trick Williams, who used to be boys of Hayes, Carmelo Hayes, and remember, Trick was hurt. They were supposed to have a match. There was an attack. Things happened. There's suspicion about Carmelo Hayes being the guy that's done. Well, let me just talk to you about the basics. I won't steal time. Match was great. Good storytelling. The finish was just excellent. It felt like the Gohan versus Perfect Cell Kamehameha. They both went for the finishers, which Trick is a running knee, and he's a big guy. And then Dragunov is Torpedo Moscow. He got there first before Trick did 1, 2, 3, but there was a time where he And at the very end, Carmelo revealed that he was the guy who attacked Trick several months ago. He attacked him again, worked his knee, and he's now going to be on a generational heel run. The match was just solid. It was consistent. It brought good joy to my heart, knowing that I at least have something to look forward to when we get Trick versus Mello at Stand Deliver, or possibly Trick versus Mello versus Hayes sooner or later in a couple of weeks in a triple threat match, knowing that I'm going to be stuck watching Dwayne The Rock Johnson using his affluence, thinking he's best with storyline against Roman Reigns. But, you take the little things in life and you say, hey, I'll eat this cheeseburger even though I want to stay, because what matters in life is being fed. And that's all I'm going to give you guys for the cage this week.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. So this is a long one because Andrew came back. So, yeah, pretty cool. And I think
a return, you would say, right?
Yes, a return. But that's it for us, guys. So see you all next week. Hey.
Take care.
Good night.
There we go. All right.
I'm sorry you said Andrew would be the second one in the 3-man group.
Yeah,
but
that's true. All right. Yeah, it's been a while. And Rakistan Sinua, Sam.